Hi, this is Greg Scheer. Now, a number of you who have visited my website and my music blog have said, Greg, what a fascinating person you are. We would like some insight into your compositional process. Actually, none of you have said anything like that. But that's okay. I thought I would make a little video about my compositional process anyway. So here we are, Psalm 29. The other day I was looking for a setting of Psalm 29 that would work well at my church. And so I looked at some of the possibilities. One of my most favorites, is in the Presbyterian hymnal number 180, The God of Heaven. It sounds something like this. The God of heaven thunders, his voice indicated echoes. You get the basic idea. It's actually when someone else is playing and singing it, it's actually quite a beautiful tune, very regal. One of the drawbacks is that it only has 3 verses. Now, it's the original Psalm 29. The text is quite long and has lots of beautiful images about God's work in nature. So I just wish that there were more verses to that. Now, another possibility is in Michael Morgan's Psalter for Christian Worship. There's a setting of Psalm 29 which can be paired with the tune for Oh, the Deep, Deep Love of Jesus, which already has lots of appropriate images for this psalm, lots of water and thunder and all those kinds of things. So it would end up sounding something like this. All on earth and all in heaven, raise to God us. I'm totally messing it up. Song on high, etc. So that's the Psalter for Christian Worship. And then a third possibility is in the trusty Psalter hymnal. It is the trusty Psalter hymnal if you're part of the CRC, the Christian Reformed Church. If you're not part of the CRC, then it might not be the trusty old Psalter hymnal, but the exciting new Psalter hymnal. I will leave that up to you. Psalm 29, there's a text by Calvin Seerveld called Give Glory to God, All You Heavenly Creatures. The problem is, it is paired with a horrible tune called Arles. And it goes like this. Give glory to God, all ye heavenly creatures. All glory and power belong to the Lord. So drop to your knees and respect what is holy. Be quiet and listen the voice of the Lord. Usually the face and the dancing and all that stuff doesn't go along with it, but you can see it's not the most dignified of melodies to go with the text and with that psalm. So I decided to take that text, the Calvin Seerveld text, and then write a new tune for it. Now this is, some people would think of hymns as being a very kind of minuscule art form, a very simple art form, and that is true. Hymns are quite short, they're quite simple, but within that you have to be very concise. You have to, any kind of artistry that you do has to happen in 12 bars, 16 bars, something like that. So it's really quite a difficult form to work with. And one of the reasons that I like it is because you can work on a particular idea and work that out in a very, very compact form. It would be like what sketches are to an artist. So here's my first sketch of that song. Well, that's not exactly Beethoven, but it's serviceable. It works pretty well. I especially like the beginning. Give glory to God. It's got a nice contour to it. Now, there are 2 basic problems, I think, with that sketch. The first one is that you end up with 5-bar phrases. Right? Now, so there's a space in between each one. If you have the space, it creates a 5-bar phrase with a little bit of a pause in between each phrase. If you don't have the space, then it doesn't give you any place to breathe. So that's a fundamental problem with this piece. The other problem is that you start in the key of G, and then you dip down to that D minor in the third phrase. So you're like this. Everything's fine. And then you ba on the F. So the F has started you in the right direction. And then you go to this D minor. So now you're in the key, in a temporary key of D minor, which is all very well and good, except I really had trouble getting out of it. Because what ends up happening is this. Let me just turn up the piano just slightly more. So, at that third phrase, ba 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 da 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 ba da 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 da, it could very easily end like this. Ba da 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 da. We're now in the key of F. Ba da 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 is where we started. So then I did all of these things to try to get out of it, and it was only minorly successful. After playing with that for far too long, I finally decided, okay, that D minor chord is heading me in the wrong direction. So I created a new draft. This time, the third phrase started on the no, it didn't start. It started on a B minor chord. So we're in the key of G. It started on the third, the minor third, the B minor chord. Take a listen. Well, that works a little bit better in terms of starting in one place and ending in a similar place, which is what hymns typically do. The problem was that that third phrase, I just wasn't as happy with it. It just felt a little bit obligatory to me. Every bridge, every third phrase needs a little relief from what's gone on before, and that just felt a little bit too, oh, now here's the mandatory move to a related minor key, and off we go, and we get back, and all that stuff. And so that D minor chord just kept sticking in my head, and so then I gave a third attempt. I finally ditched that version, and I said, okay, I'm in pretty deep, but I'm going to try to stick with that D minor chord because that's what I hear in my head, and that's what I like, and I'm just going to try to get out of it a little bit more subtly. And so what I did is I wrote another version. Now this third version sticks in the D minor, but it has these two repeated patterns that kind of modulate us back. So check this out. I sent this score to a couple friends, and some of the feedback I got, one person said, I think you should go to the B minor in the third phrase. They didn't actually know that I had a version that did go to the B minor, that I had tried that particular version. Some other people had some other suggestions. And I finally decided that it just was not ready for prime time, that we are not going to sing it this Sunday at my church, and I'm just going to let it simmer on the back burner for a little while. Now here's where you come in. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can feel free to leave comments or video comments, the ways that you would change the song. If you're listening to this on my blog, the music is included at my blog. That's musicblog.gregscheer.com. And so you can download the scores and upload comments of what you would do, and then together we will make this song a little bit better, or together we will decide that this just really needs to be resigned to the dust heap of Greg's compositional output. So thanks for listening. Once again, Greg Scheer.